Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Williamsburg City Council meeting of Thursday, January 8th. Ms. McKay, would you call the roll, please?
Ms. Williams.
Here.
Ms. Ramsey.
Here.
Mayor Pons.
Here.
Vice Mayor Dent.
Here.
Ms. Kernshire.
Here.
Okay, now that we're all here, first on our agenda is council minutes. We have several here for approval. Are there any modifications or changes? Is there a motion?
So I move that the meetings from the December 4th, December 8th, and December 11th meetings be approved.
Second.
Ms. McKay?
Ms. Williams.
Aye.
Ms. Ramsey.
Aye.
Mayor Pons.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Dent.
Aye.
Ms. Kernshire. Aye.
Okay, next is matter of special privileges, and this is a presentation of Excellence in Service Award to Chris Prewitt. So, Mr. Prewitt, if you would join me at the podium, please. Well, so every quarter, I guess, the city recognizes employees that have gone over and above, and this turn in the barrel, so to speak, is Mr. Prewitt. And so I have a note to read. So, since joining the City of Williamsburg's Park and Recreation Department in 2019 as an athletic programs coordinator, Chris has consistently demonstrated outstanding dedication, professionalism, and leadership. Through his strong work ethic and commitment to the internal and public service, he has risen through the ranks and now serves as Assistant Director. Chris answers the call to service without hesitation, frequently volunteering his time and stepping in whenever support is needed, often beyond the scope of his role. He consistently goes over and above and beyond to provide excellent customer service, ensuring positive experiences for staff, partners, and the community. Known for his collaborative spirit, pleasant demeanor, and positive attitude, Chris fosters a workplace culture grounded in teamwork, reliability, and mutual respect. He not only contributes his own efforts, but also shares thoughtful ideas improve the processes and strengthens the operation, encouraging those around him to succeed. His actions exemplify the Williamsburg way and reflects a genuine commitment to service of others. Chris has earned both the Certified Parks and Recreational Profession and the Certified Playground Safety Inspector's credentials through the National Recreation and Park Association, underscoring his commitment to the highest standards of parks and recreation. Accordingly, Chris is hereby recognized for his dedication and excellence in keeping the best traditions of public service in the City of Williamsburg. So congratulations. Get this.
This is truly an honor to receive this award. I want to give a thank you to Mayor Pons and members of City Council and our city manager, Mr. Prewitt, and my department head, Robbie Hutton, and all the Parks and Rec crew. Over the last 7 years, I've really loved working for the city, and I've gotten to work on many different events with many different departments. And the one thing that really makes this place special is working with all the other different departments and how everyone really joins in for that one common goal of working together to make sure that we provide the best services that we can. So I'm truly proud to be able to serve this community and be a part of this team and contribute to the city in any way that I can. Thank you again.
Thank you, Chris, and thank you for all that you do for the city. It certainly makes us a better place to live, work, and play. Okay, takes us now to public hearing, which is an opportunity for anybody in the public who would like to come forward and address City Council on any matters. Sorry? Public? No public hearings. Gosh, I misread that. Thank you. So now is not the time. Soon will be the time for you to come forward. Reports. First is monthly financial statement. Ms. Dameron. Thank you.
Good afternoon. This month we're going to start first looking at the year-to-date for December, and then we're going to show a couple of slides for the year-end results in 25. We're first going to take a look at the 1% sales tax report. And as you can see from the slide, we're at, as of the end of December, we're at 34% of budget, and we are showing a 2.3% increase compared to last year this time. And I will remind you that even though we're talking about December, it'll be 2 more months, it'll be February before we see the results of the Christmas sales. And then our room tax, we see that we're at 41% of our budget. We show a little bit over a 10% increase compared to last year. However, I'll remind you again that there are some delinquent collections that we're pursuing in this and will be for the next 2 or 3 months. But we'll continue to monitor that. And then on our meals tax, we see that we're at 37% of budget. We show a slight increase year-to-date, slightly over 0.5%. This one has been up 1 month and down the next month. So, for instance, for December, we showed a 3.8% increase compared to just the monthly data. But I think the previous month we were down maybe about 2.8%. The month before that, we were up about a little over 6%, and then we were down in the first month. So we'll continue to keep a close eye on that and keep you abreast of any changes. And then on the $2 lodging tax, again, we see we're at 40% of budget and a 12% increase compared to last year. This also includes some delinquent collections along with the rooms. The historic sales tax, we're at 35% of budget. We show a 5% increase compared to last year. And then on our real estate revenue, we're at 50% of budget, which is exactly where I like to see us at this point in time. And we show a 4.4% increase compared to last year this time. On our local tax revenue, our first slide to the left there is a personal property tax, and we're at 83% of budget, showing a 19.5% increase compared to last year. We will, even though the due dates for both the personal property and the business property tax was December 1st, we will continue to collect on that throughout between now and the end of the year. The business tax, we're at 87% of the budget, and we're almost a 3% decrease compared to last year. So we will, of course, continue to monitor that as well. Now, we're looking at how we landed last year with our real estate. We're comparing it to previous years. So you'll see that last year we showed a 7.6% increase compared to the previous years. The bars show actual, and on the bars we show the tax rate for the given year because there were some increases and then some decreases. And the gold or orange line is the budget. So you can see that we compare very well our actual to budget. And we didn't put the percents on there, but I can tell you that we are trickling down from the years that we had double-digit increases. And I think we'll continue to see that smooth out a bit as we move forward. And then on our personal, or on our property tax, personal and business, the dark blue line is the personal property tax. The light blue is the business license tax. And you can tell in, in 22, we start to see in personal property that increase in the automobiles. You really see the jump in 23, which is interesting because we actually decreased the percent. We only valued at 80% of the J.D. Powers loan value, average loan value in 23. And then we see still an uptick in 24. Now we see it starting to level out as we enter 25. And then you can also tell that the business property stays fairly level. That concludes my charts. I will add that our general fund, both revenues and expenditures, are performing as expected. A couple of outliers, transfers that we made this year and expenditures that maybe we didn't make till later in the year last year, that type of thing. The utility revenue and expenditures are trending with budget, but I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Ms. Dameron. I don't have any questions.
Yeah, no questions, thank you.
None for me either, and I really appreciate the charts that you show as an overview. It's very helpful.
No questions, thank you.
Thank you, Director Dameron. Okay, next is monthly departmental operating reports. Mr. Prewitt, who do we have today?
Yeah, today we're going to hear from Public Works, who's going to give us some updates on some pending projects.
Welcome, Mr. Reed.
Good afternoon, Mayor and members of City Council. As the City Manager said, we're just going to go over a couple of projects. I know a few that you're familiar with. Our department manages roughly 50 projects at any given time, so here's just a handful of what we have going on. Starting with the Capitol Landing, well, I'll give you an overview. Capitol Landing road improvements, we're going to talk about the Waller Mill Dam, a few of the pump station rehabs, the water treatment filter inspections, and the fuel station canopy replacement. As you are all familiar with, we are still working on the Capitol Landing road improvements. To refresh your memory, what that all included was a water line replacement. We took all of the overhead utilities and put them underground. Once we get to construction, we'll be installing new curb and gutter, street signs, additional sidewalks, obviously improving the landscaping. We're going to realign the roadway at the intersection, and that'll actually become a signalized intersection. It'll allow for a fourth leg into the sports complex, and it'll go from the 4 lanes to 2 lane with a road diet in the middle. So the preliminary engineering phase is coming to conclusion, and the roadblock that we've been waiting on is we're finally able to go to right-of-way phase, and we're in right-of-way phase now. We only have one property owner we need to negotiate with, and once we're able to acquire that right-of-way, we'll be able to go to the construction phase. We hope to put the project out to bid in the fall, which means that construction, we hope, will begin in the spring of 2027. That will be the streetscape, curb and gutter, sidewalk, et cetera, and the intersection improvements. Another project that you're aware of is the Waller Mill Dam improvements. VDEM reclassified our dam from a low hazard to a high hazard, requiring us to make some upgrades, and simply we're going to raise the dam to increase the capacity of the flood it can handle. We applied to FEMA and VDEM and were awarded a grant. It's 100% funded through this grant, and the funds were allocated just this past August, so we are able to begin the project. 90% plans are complete, and we hope to have plans complete, put it out to bid in the fall, and again, this project we hope to begin in spring of 27. Some of the new projects from last year were pump station rehabilitation. With the money we have for design, we were able to start design on 2 of them, and that's pump station 6 and 9. These upgrades will include any and everything from new pumps, drives, piping, PLC as programmable logic controllers, just the brains of what tells the pumps what to do. We think we'll have design complete this fiscal year, so by July 1, and we think we can start construction in fall of 26. The filter inspections out at the plant, we're a little past due on these, and so the first thing we do is we inspect the sand media to see if it's still in the kind of shape we want it to be in. First, the engineers will come and inspect the structure of the filters themselves, and we were actually able to find the original manufacturer of the filter, and they come out in February, and their report will let us know if that sand media needs to be replaced. If it does, we'll likely look at granular activated carbon, and what that will do is it absorbs a lot of contaminants up to including PFAS. Eliminating PFAS is an issue in the future. We do foresee needing to change that media, but we needed the inspection report to confirm that. And lastly, the fuel canopy station replacement, this was approved in last year's budget. We put it out to bid and got bids back in October, and it exceeded the budget, so we negotiated with the bidder, and we were able to reduce the scope. We're going to do the demolition in-house, and that should bring it under budget. We're waiting on a final price from them right now. If it brings it under budget, we'll demo the current canopy in-house, and we should be able to start that project in March. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. It's interesting to hear, generally have about 50 projects going on, which is quite a workload, and I applaud you and your team for getting all these things done, because in addition to those planned projects, we have emergencies that happen, for example, here on South Henry Street, North Henry Street, which, took a lot of time and took men and women away from what they generally do. So I applaud you for being able to do all that stuff. Related to Capitol Landing Road, you're going to go out to bid in the fall of 26, and hopefully construction begins on 27.
Sir.
That includes the resurfacing of the street in that time frame. Okay. I know that it's not the most desirable street now, and if you've traversed it as I have, it rattles your dentures out. So can't wait to see that come to completion. So thank you for that. Vice Mayor?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Reed, and the mayor just touched on the point I wanted to make, is we have a lot of citizens that talk about that right lane of Capitol Landing where the water line was replaced, and I realize it'd be a huge expense to repave the whole thing, but I often wonder, when I drove through there seemed like a couple places were worse than others, that maybe if it's gonna be 27, there could be something done to kind of smooth those out a little bit.
We can look at the patch and see where we can make some improvements.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Chair?
My questions have been answered. Thank you.
Thank you for the update, and I think everyone's anxious for Capitol Landing Road to be completed, since the Sports Center will be opening this summer, and we expect a lot of traffic there, so I think anything to mediate some of those concerns would be great. My question was, once construction starts in the spring of 27, how long do you anticipate for everything to be done?
12 to 18 months. Be an additional 12 to 18 months.
Okay, so that puts us into like the middle of 2028.
Fortunately, dealing with grant funds, there's a lot of paperwork, and it extends the process significantly.
And I know that we were waiting on some grant funds from the federal government. Are we still waiting on those?
With this particular project, we were waiting on authorization to go to the right-of-way phase, and we did just recently get
Okay.
that authorization. So the project's moving forward again.
Okay, good. And just out of curiosity, pump stations 6 and 9, where are they?
Great question. I believe 9 is, this is where, neighborhood names. I would have to get back to you on that.
That's okay. I
Sorry.
was just curious.
Sure.
How
Thank
many
you.
pump stations are there? 13?
15.
15, okay. Thank you. Ms. Williams?
Well, thank you for the presentation. All my questions have already been answered, but I just wanted to applaud you and your team, especially with juggling so many projects at once, and the emergencies we had this year as well, and just the quick action that was taken with those. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. Okay, city manager's report. Ms. Prewitt, anything? City attorney, Ms. Shelton?
Nothing today.
All right, now, the open forum that I promised you earlier. So this is, open forum is an opportunity for anybody to like to come forward to speak to city council on matters on their mind. I see we have one willing participant, Mr. Kirkland, welcome.
Thank you, Mayor Pons, members of council. Ron Kirkland, Williamsburg Hotel Motel Association, 1001A Richmond Road, Williamsburg, Virginia. Nobody likes taking money out and paying taxes, whether you're an individual or a business. But over the last 20-plus years, what I have enjoyed is driving to work to Williamsburg every day on nicely maintained streets, and safe streets. I don't have to worry about getting mugged. We have lots of services and events, and really a high quality of life here in our little city. And, you know, those things have to get paid for. And so during the discussion of how those revenues gets raised, we had a lot of great inclusive conversations with city manager, members of council, staff, and through all that, we were able to avoid a property tax increase for our industry, which has a real negative effect on the bottom line. And we came to a solution where we can pass those expenses on to consumers who may come from out of town to come on vacation. And that was really good. Over time, we were able to reduce the amount of the sales tax. We got a dealer discount on credit card fees. Those are both very good. And ultimately, I think the city has come up with a model that's going to get the revenue that you need. It's not going to have a tremendous impact on local folks, particularly the lodging industry. And I just want to say thank you for the process. It was very thoughtful and well done, and we look forward to continuing working with the city in the future. Thank you.
Mr. Kirkland? Would anybody else like to come forward? Ms. Fairbanks, welcome.
Sabrina Fairbanks, 119 Berkeley Lane, Walnut Hills. Good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of council. It's my understanding you're going to vote today on increasing revenue for the city through the lodging, admissions, and meals taxes, and that the crux of this is to help fund the CIP projects which are on the books. Business owner friends have shared with us that they would like to see the property owners, residents, help share this tax burden, while the resident property owners think that with the rising assessments and increase in utilities, that we are helping share the burden in terms of revenue. The one thing that we can agree on, the business owners and the residents, is that we would like the city to look more at cutting the expenditures on the CIP side of things, rather than continuing to say how much tax revenue can we generate. Some of these CIP projects have been on the books for years. They're ideas which were generated from old surveys, 2017. They're based on surveys from the future festivals, which non-residents completed. So it might be time to look at how many years are we going to kick these things down the road and try to figure out how to fund them. I believe the city manager's been quoted as saying the increased taxes will be passed on to the visitors rather than the businesses. Just thinking about the restaurants, I don't understand this, because minimum wages are going up. You know, the cost of food, from what they tell me, is rising. And when they say it's going to be on the visitors, I feel like it's going to be a burden to the businesses, and I think that they have made that very clear at all the meetings that I've attended. And in terms of just thinking that we'll generate this revenue from the tourists or from the visitors, I just wanted to share a personal story. So I brought a prop. This is the size cup. I was at a conference in Virginia Beach in September, and the cocktail hour came. We went, we paid our $50, and we thought that will come with a couple of drink tokens. No. So they filled about half of this cup up with wine, and it was $10. And I thought, well, you know, it's a conference, and that's okay. It's good for tourism for Virginia Beach. So we put my credit card out for the $10 half a cup of wine, and the total was $13.70. And I thought, in my mind, I'm thinking, how do I tactfully ask if that's tax and tip for a $10 cup of wine? And before I could even think about how to pose that question, the bartender said, "It's all tax." So I'm assuming he'd been hearing this. And he said, City Council passed something over the summer, and they're calling it a tourism tax or something like that. He wasn't sure what the name of the tax was. So if you can imagine, everybody at this conference could afford it. But I don't know one person who went back for a second cup of wine. And I'm very worried that these taxes, that's what's going to happen. Even the visitors are going to say, you know, this is excessive. And people were talking about it, and then the attendees at this mandatory conference went to their classes, and spouses, others went to the grocery store and drove to Total Wine and bought wine. So, I mean, that kind of tax killed that bar business for that conference. So that's what I wanted to share with you, and I hope you will consider lowering these taxes, if voting for them at all, and then really, moving forward, let's look at some of these CIP projects, because they just may be too expensive for our small community. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Seeing none, I'll close the open forum and we'll move on to unfinished business. And first is consideration and action regarding proposed ordinance 25-02 to amend section 18-237 and article 2 of section 18-271 and 18-272, 18-273, and 18-282, articles 8 of chapter 18 of the code of, to increase the levied transient lodging tax and prepared foods and beverage tax, specify the distribution of the portion of transient occupancy tax provided by the Historic Triangle Marketing Fund. Ms. Shelton.
So during council's budget process last year, council held public hearings regarding increasing the tax rates for the transient occupancy tax and also for the prepared food and beverage tax. Both of those rates were advertised at 7%. After the public hearing and as part of City Council's discussion, staff was directed to lower the rate for meals tax to 6.5% and also to include a deduction from the tax paid for these taxes of 2%. So each month, the amount of the tax, 2% of the amount of the tax would be deducted from the bill. Those changes are included in the ordinance. Council postponed consideration and action on this ordinance until today, and so they are in front of you for your consideration.
Okay, good. Thank you. Okay, so yeah, we had lots of conversations about this back in February, March, April, May, June of last year, with the understanding that we would be taking this action today. And I feel like with all the conversation that we had, the needs of the city, at the time, we certainly felt that this decision was the best way to meet the needs of the city. So I'm prepared to move forward. Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I mean, we've had a lot of discussion about this, and as one of the speakers pointed out, nobody likes a new tax or an increased tax. But also, back in those discussions, there were several people that reached out and talked about increasing real estate tax, and that's something that council considered, but it was a significant real estate tax increase to make up the revenue that would generate from these additional taxes. And based on some of the conversation that took place back then, as Ms. Shelton indicated, some of that was reduced, and we included the 2% rebate for the credit card. So I think there's been healthy discussions, but we're at a point where we approved a budget based on these revenues coming in. So I'm prepared to support it as well.
I mean, that was well said. I don't really have anything to add. We had a lot of difficult conversations about this when we passed the budget, and the budget was passed with these in mind, and so my position hasn't changed since then.
Thank you. Ms. Ray.
Thank you. I would echo what Ms. Kernschier said, in that I think the mayor and vice mayor stated the situation well, and I'm prepared to vote for this as well.
I'm also prepared to move forward with this decision. As it's been previously stated, we've had a lot of conversations, especially, I guess, back last budget season during that cycle. It's not the most exciting thing moving forward, but definitely necessary.
Comments? Is there a motion?
So I move that City Council adopt proposed ordinance 25-02.
Second.
McKay?
Williams.
Aye.
Ms. Ramsey.
Aye.
Mayor Pons.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Dent.
Aye.
Ms. Kerdenscheer. Aye.
Item B, under old business, is consideration and action regarding proposed ordinance 25-03 to add Article 7 admissions tax to Chapter 18 of the Code of, City Code. Ms. Shelton.
Similarly, City Council considered this item during the budget session. It was advertised as a rate of 10% on an admission that's paid in the city. Council requested that we make some modifications to that too, so we've created classes as part of the ordinance. The class school events are exempt under the ordinance in front of you. The tax is 10% on the first $10, which is what council directed staff to provide at this meeting. Council postponed consideration and action of that item again to this meeting, and so it's in front of City Council for your consideration.
So 10% on the first $10 is essentially $1. Okay, good. So my position is the same as I stated on the previous agenda item, so I'll turn it over to
Yeah, I
Mr.
have
Vice
nothing
Mayor.
to add.
Nothing to add.
And the only thing I would add is that I feel we did made a good decision applying a cap for the $10, because I don't think $1 really creates a burden on people who are coming for various admissions.
Yes, I'm prepared to move forward as well.
Is there a motion?
So I move that City Council adopt proposed ordinance 25-03.
Second.
Ms. McKay?
Williams.
Aye.
Ms. Ramsey.
Aye.
Mayor Pons.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Dent.
Aye.
Ms. Kerdenscheer. Aye.
Okay, new business. Item A is consideration and action regarding proposed resolution number 26-01, amending the Public Assistance Fund budget for the City of Williamsburg, Virginia, for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2026, and authorizing the payment of said grant proceeds to Letitia's House. Ms. Dameron.
Yes, the state's 26 budget contained a $300,000 grant to Letitia's House, which is a nonprofit located in James City County. However, the budget language specifically said that the city would pass through that grant. We've worked with the state to get it to be a pass-through grant, meaning we're not having to monitor the expenditures. And so we're asking for City Council to approve Resolution 26-1, authorizing the city manager to pay the grant monies that are received from the state over, to Letitia's House.
Thank you, Ms. Dameron. So I presume, I mean, obviously, money going to Letitia's House will serve a good purpose. The grant couldn't just go to Letitia's House. It had to come through a municipality.
Correct.
So
Correct.
they chose the city of Williamsburg.
Right.
Okay.
That's correct.
Absent having to provide any oversight or manage the funds, I think just simply acting as a conduit, as a pass-through, is certainly fine for me.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just curious about why they selected Williamsburg if it's located in James City County, if you have any insight into that.
I really don't. We were kind of curious too, and our first request was to see if we could change that, but we couldn't. But I will say that our Human Services Director, Wendy Evans, worked with the State Department of Social Services to get language that we felt comfortable with.
I think, Mr. Vice Mayor, just so the council knows, I think the issue's been fixed. This will be a one-time thing.
Okay.
I really think probably this was just an error by the General Assembly. I mean, we're all familiar with the concept that a lot of people don't realize that they live in James City County or the city of Williamsburg, and I think that's what happened here. But this is a one-time grant, as far as I understand.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, no questions. Thank you for the clarification.
I have no questions either.
Yes, thank you, no questions.
Okay, is there a motion? Thank you, Ms. Dameron.
So I move that City Council adopt Resolution 26-01.
Second.
Ms. McKay?
Ms. Williams?
Aye.
Ms. Ramsey?
Aye.
Mayor Pons?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Dent?
Aye.
Ms. Kerntier?
Aye.
Okay, item B is consideration and action regarding the canopy repairs and replacement to the columns located at the Williamsburg Transportation Center. Welcome back, Mr. Reed.
Good afternoon. Back in June, someone backed into one of the columns out front of the transportation center. We put it through insurance and got a quote, but further inspection revealed a lot of moisture damage. And so we had a structural group come out and do a full inspection, and I have some pictures, and they found a lot of rotten wood that simply needs to be replaced. And so we asked David Nice to give us a quote on the repairs. They provided a quote. It's an emergency procurement, and so we would like to move forward with the repairs. The cost is $263,700, but that does not include the original insurance claim. That one column was $40,000. So the total cost of everything is just north of $300,000, and we will follow all ARB requirements in the repair.
I guess good and bad, glad we were able to get some insurance money. I'm sorry somebody backed into the columns. It's good that we found the damage before it continued to get worse.
Yes, sir.
Will these repairs to the structure internal to the canopy also include fixing the source of the leak on the roof?
Yes, sir. Yeah, the flashing, and, you see the shingles there and the flashing. A lot of that is the issue, and that'll be repaired.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, looking at the photos, we don't have an option to fix the damage. I guess unfortunate, as the mayor said, that someone hit the column, but fortunate that they did at a time where we've been able to find this damage before it got any worse.
Yes, I spent some time reading this report, and I learned a new use of the word sistering. I did not know that that was a word. I was like, I learned something new. But no, I really do. It is one of those things where a good thing we found out about it before it got any worse, and noting that the, going forward, they did note that, routine maintenance would have caught this earlier, so it kind of also is a reminder, like, keep an eye on things before they get this bad, so I'm sure that will happen going forward, too.
I have no further comments. Thank you for the presentation and bringing this to our attention.
Also have no further comments. Looking at the pictures, it looks like something that needs to be repaired. So thank you for the information today.
Thank you.
Maybe now you have 51 projects you have to take care. Is there a motion?
So I move that City Council authorize the city manager to execute a purchase order authorizing David Nice Builders to perform the repairs on the Transportation Center for the not-to-exceed price of $263,700.
Second.
Okay.
Ms. Williams?
Aye.
Ms. Ramsey?
Aye.
Mayor Pons?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Dent?
Aye.
Ms. Kerntier?
Aye.
Okay, item C under new business is consideration and action regarding tourism promotion contingency funds request from the Virginia Docent Exchange, the Virginia Black Film Festival, and the Muscarelli Museum of Arts. Ms. Grabala, welcome.
Good afternoon and Happy New Year, Mayor Pons, members of City Council. Today we'll be reviewing 3 tourism promotion contingency fund requests, as you just mentioned. They are from the Virginia Docent Exchange, the Virginia Black Film Festival, and the Muscarelli Museum of Art. As a refresher, this program was adopted in 2015 and was designed to increase overnight visitation to the city by providing startup funding for new projects or funding to expand or enhance existing projects. It is not designed to provide year-over-year support for recurring projects. Examples of funded projects include the Oxford Conference in FY23, a feasibility study for an LPV in FY24, and in FY25, there was a VA 250s, a common cause to all conference, a vendor payment processing system for Williamsburg downtown, and the Michelangelo exhibit at the Muscarelli. For this current fiscal year, the TPCF budget is $150,000, none of which has been expended so far. The next slide shows you a snapshot of the program through a monetary lens, with over $500,000 being awarded to date. For each year, the teal bars show the program budget, the yellow bars show the total funding requested, and the peach bars show the total awarded funds. You'll note that last year was the first year since FY20 in which all funds were expended, indicating a gradual recovery after the early COVID years. While today you'll be considering 3 applications, the graph shows 4 applicants for FY26. 1 additional application was submitted after the deadline to be considered today, but we were able to include it in the data for this slide. The first request for review comes from the Virginia Docent Exchange. They're requesting $8,610 to support their conference taking place March 8th through 10th. This is a biennial conference that rotates its location throughout the state. This year's event is in the city and is being co-hosted by the Art Museums of Colonial Williamsburg and the Muscarelli Museum of Art. The first conference actually took place in 1990 at the Muscarelli. The event is expected to have 150 to 200 attendees. Williamsburg, as the host city, has generated a lot of excitement, and the conference planners are encouraging attendees to bring their families to experience the area while they're here. They are also placing a strong emphasis on the 250th commemoration and will feature VA 250 speakers. Other partners include Virginia Tourism Corporation, Greater Williamsburg Chamber of Commerce. The total budget for this conference is $31,065. Once the application is submitted, a staff committee meets to review the request to make a recommendation. The staff recommendation for the Virginia Docent Exchange is to award full funding of $8,610. The next request comes from the Virginia Black Film Festival. They are requesting $50,000 to support the event, which is taking place February 19th through 22nd at the Kimball Theater. This is the festival's 3rd year, but the first year in Williamsburg. Previously, it was held in Hampton. And I will note that the event organizer, prior to the Virginia Black Film Festival, spent 10 years producing a film festival in Miami, so he has experience. This year's theme for the Virginia Black Film Festival is Black Excellence, Past, Present, and Future in celebration of Black History Month. The festival includes 15 events over 4 days with an anticipated total attendance of 3,600. The schedule features guest speakers, screenings, celebrity guests, including actor Keith David, who will be receiving a Lifetime Achievement Award, and a gala award show, all designed to put Black filmmakers and entrepreneurs in the forefront and accessible to the community and with each other. As with the Virginia Docent Exchange, there is also a focus on the 250th commemoration, which will celebrate the essential role African Americans played in the origin of this nation and the importance of telling those stories. The festival is being presented in partnership with Visit Williamsburg, and with the total budget for the event is $98,790. Staff recommends funding in the amount of $15,000, which is level with Visit Williamsburg sponsorship. And the final request for review comes from the Muscarelli Museum. They are asking for $84,350 in TPCF funding to support its Abstract Expressionists, the Women exhibition, which opens later this month on January 23rd and runs through April 26th. The exhibit features nearly 50 works by 32 pioneering women artists from their Christian Levitt collection and is already garnering national attention, as this is its East Coast debut. The funding request is specifically for marketing, as outlined on the slide before you, and includes paid advertising, public media sponsorships, and coverage in major publications. Last fiscal year, the Muscarelli received a TPCF grant for the Michelangelo exhibit for just over $95,000. The total budget for the Abstract Expressionists exhibit is $262,895, and staff recommends awarding funding in the amount of $25,000, which is the premier sponsorship level. Because we have 3 funding requests today, here's a quick summary for your review. The yellow box on the right shows the FY26 budget, the total dollar amount requested today, so it does not include that 4th application, and the sum of the staff recommendations. As a reminder, any unspent funds for the fiscal year do roll back into the TDF. Thank you. And at this time, I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. I know we have at least three, we have all three applications represented today. So if you have any questions that I cannot answer, I'm happy to bring them up.
Well, thank you, Ms. Corbala. Just as a reminder, a number of years ago, council had the foresight to develop the Tourism Contingency Fund for this exact type of purpose. We wanted to create opportunities that would assist events come to Williamsburg to help offer unique opportunities for businesses to bring exhibits and do various shows, and ultimately in an effort to drive overnight visitation, to help the hotels, help the restaurants, and just spending in Williamsburg. But as you can see from these events and some of the ones that we've supported in the past, they are great cultural activities for our residents to take place. And I think back just to the Michelangelo exhibit that was here last year at the Muscarelli. I think that was met with great fanfare, and I know lots of people here in the city were able to take advantage of that. So I fully support this and look forward to having these three events in town. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Corbala. And I agree, all three of these events fit exactly what council's intent was when this was developed, and I really appreciate the time that staff puts into reviewing these recommendations, these applications, and coming back with recommendations to council, and look forward to all three of these events and the people that they can attract to Williamsburg.
Yes, thank you. This is, all wonderful. Yes, and thank you to you and your team for everything you've done. I did have a couple of questions. You said there's one additional application that's still, is that in the review stage, your all's review stage right now?
Yes, it will be disseminated to the staff committee, and then we'll meet prior, and hopefully it'll be going before City Council at the February.
Okay. And then is it possible that even more applications will come? Is there a hard deadline, or is it a rolling application?
As long as they meet the deadlines, I guess the final deadline would be late May to meet the June City Council meeting. But yes, as long as there is funding there, then anybody can apply.
Great, yeah, so that's good to know that, these three that we're considering right now, that means there could be more events that we learn about that apply going forward before the end of the fiscal year. So that's exciting to think about as well, and I definitely think that what we've been presented with today are all excellent to know that they're coming to town, and happy to support them in this way.
Thank you for the presentation. I, too, am pleased to support all of these. I think that the contingency fund, as the mayor has said, has really done its intent. Not only has it brought different events and helped us sponsor different events, but they've all been very diverse throughout the years, and I think this is evident for this year, too. I think one thing we do want to keep in mind is with 2026 being the 250th, there might be some surprise applications towards the end of the fiscal year, and so I think it's helpful to have some funding left in the fund for anything that might come up. I also really appreciate the collaboration with other partners, particularly Visit Williamsburg, who's partnering on two of these, and I appreciate the staff's review and the way that you've approached these and brought your results and recommendations to council. Thank you.
Well, thank you for the presentation, and I'm pleased to support all three projects as well, especially when we think about fostering overnight visitation and bringing in different conferences, events, and festivals to Williamsburg as well. So thank you to you and your team and your recommendations.
Is there a motion?
So I move that City Council award Tourism Promotion Contingency Fund grants to the Virginia Docent Exchange in the amount of $8,610, the Virginia Black Film Festival in the amount of $15,000 at the director sponsorship level, and the Muscarelli Museum of Art in the amount of $25,000 at the premier sponsorship level.
Second.
Ms. McKay, would you call the roll?
Ms. Williams.
Aye.
Ms. Ramsey.
Aye.
Mayor Pons.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Dent.
Aye.
Ms. Kernshire.
Aye.
Thank you. Takes us to item 10, which is closed session, and I believe we have closed session today.
We do. I move to go into closed session pursuant to Section 2.2-3711 of the Code of Virginia for the purpose of discussing one legal matter per subparagraph 8 for the purpose of consultation on specific legal matters requiring the provision of legal advice by counsel concerning ARB guidelines.
Second?
Okay?
Ms. Williams?
Aye.
Ms. Ramsey?
Aye.
Mayor Pons?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Dent?
Aye.
Ms. Kernscher?
Okay, we will go into closed session and reconvene thereafter and go on from there. Thank you. Ms. McKay?
Ms. Williams.
Aye.
Ms. Ramsey.
Aye.
Mayor Pons.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Dent.
Aye.
Ms. Kernshire.
Aye.
Okay, nothing else. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Ms. McKay?
Ms. Williams.
Aye.
Ms. Ramsey.
Aye.
Mayor Pons.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Dent.
Aye.
Ms. Kernshire.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you all.